guys, I'm Laura Vitale. On this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I want to share with you how to make a fabulous appetizer that you can use throughout the entire holiday season and everybody will love. We're going to make pull-apart pigs in a blanket that we're going to serve with like a beer, cheese, mustard dip. It is so phenomenal. Kids love it because they love pigs in a blanket. Adults love it because they're not only delicious, but then you've got that delicious beer-laced like dip that just, oh, so good. First thing we're going to work on is making the dough. I like to do a fresh yeast dough for this, but you can use something like puff pastry if you want. But for the dough, all you need is some all-purpose flour, salt, and sugar. I've got a little bit of active dry yeast here with a touch of sugar, which I'm going to add to some warm water. I'm going to add that in there, and I'm going to just let that hang out and do its thing. And then you just need an egg and some unsalted butter that's cold that I cut into like small little tiny pieces. Those are the ingredients you'll need for the dough. And then I'll show you the rest of the ingredients you'll need to pull these together. And we're gonna make our dip, which is really easy. And you're just gonna love it. I'm gonna let my mixer do all the work because it needs to pay for itself. Which is, I mean, it's totally not complicated at all. We're just gonna add, for now, all the dry ingredients right in, and then when the yeast is activated, we're gonna add that in too. So I'm just gonna sit here, babysit my yeast. You wanna make sure your yeast is activated and proofed, and it'll get all bubbly and foamy, and that's when you know you're at a right spot. So when that's ready, I'll show you the next step. That is great. You see it's all foamy on top? That is how you know your yeast is ready and activated. If you don't have that, then you might as well just not carry on with the recipe because your dough is never going to rise. And what's the point in that? So then you add your egg and your yeast mixture. Put my dough hook attachment on here, and I'm going to knead this on medium speed just for a couple minutes, and then we're going to add the butter, and I'll show you what it looks like when we're there. All right, it's been about a couple minutes and you can see it's almost together. And now what I start doing is I start adding the cold butter, and you're just gonna continue to let it mix until the butter's incorporated. But here's what's gonna happen. This is what you're going to come across. You might come across the fact that the sides of your bowl and like the sides of your dough is a little bit like greasy. So I have like a tablespoon of flour reserved, and I'll just sprinkle it in there if I feel like I need a little bit of help kind of pulling the dough back together. Other than that, I'm just gonna let this go. I have an oiled bowl here ready. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. The dough is absolute perfection. It's slightly tacky, but I'm not gonna add any flour now because I don't want this to be too heavy. I'm putting this in my oiled bowl. Just flipped it around. Cover with plastic wrap and let it rise until double. You know, I like to place mine either in the oven with the oven light on, don't turn on the oven, or in the microwave. Anywhere that's draft free, nice and warm and cozy, it'll do the job. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll bring you back here. We'll pull it together, we make our dip, we eat, we're happy. It's the holidays. Everyone's happy at the holidays, right? All right, the dough looks great, it's risen, perfect. I've got an oiled pan. I like a metal pan for this. You know, I think it just gets crispier around the edge. Wow, that smells good. Gets crispy around the edges. I don't know, I like a metal pan. It's not springform pan though, which is hard to get it out, so I have to be careful, but for some reason, you know me, I'm weird. I love this pan. I got these from Italy years ago, and that's just the thing I like to bake them in. Okay, you can do a springform pan, it's easier. I'm gonna just take a little flour, dust my surface. Now, here's the thing, okay? This is nice fluffy dough, isn't it? Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, we need to grab a rolling pin, but in the meantime, I wanna chat with you for a second about your little franks here. I like using beef mini franks. That's just what I like. All beef, that's what I prefer. Every package is going to vary how many it's got in the package. This has 48 in them, and it's right about 3/4 of a pound. So you're gonna want about 50 little franks. Now, if your package carries, you know, has 48 in them, don't bother buying 2 packages. But sort of like that's what you're looking for. I also have sharp white cheddar. We got this from Vermont actually when we went there for my birthday. Shredded that up. I want a little bit of this, and I want some yellow mustard. So I'm just gonna go ahead and grab a rolling pin. It's my kitchen. You'd think I know where the rolling pin is. I do. I'm gonna roll this out. Now, I'm just really not that precise of a person, but if I had to guess, I'm rolling this out to about 15 by 10, okay? If I had to take a wild guess. But I want to make sure that I'm not adding too much flour. Otherwise, it's gonna like not hold and it's gonna spring back and it'll be a mess. So I'm just gonna go ahead and roll this out. I have a 9 by 13 inch lid here that I use as a guide, but if I see you taking a ruler and measuring this out, coming over and smacking you, because that's not a holiday cheer. That's called getting real crazy, okay? Just relax, it's not that big of a deal. You're making pigs in a blanket. They're all gonna bake together and be fantastic, okay? It'll be fine. A little bit of yellow mustard. Smear that all over. I'm gonna take like a butter knife, you know, a butter thing situation here, just because it's slanted, so it's a little bit easier. You want a thin layer. I don't want anything too thick because then it gets scoopy as you're starting to roll this out. Edge to edge here because, you know, flavor. We like flavor. Flavor is good. Okay. This also acts like a little bit of glue for the cheese that we are gonna add to this. Beautiful. Where is it? Here it is. Nice thin layer of cheese. Isn't that lovely? I made these for a party we went on Halloween, and it was like the thing everybody loved. So I figured I gotta share it with you because if you're anything like us, see, I think people forget that the entire month of December is a month of festivities and you just focus too much on the actual Christmas day. But we've got friends coming over, we've got game nights, we've got activities and parties and whatever. Have fun. There's other things to worry about, not worry about, but like focus on, except for with the exception of just the actual day, you know? Anyway, this is great. This is about 4 ounces of really good sharp cheddar. I've got 48 here, which means I want 24 strips because I'm going to cut each strip in half. Okay, so wish me luck on cutting 24 even strips. But I'm gonna guide myself first, okay? So we'll just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We do the best we can, okay? I'm not gonna worry myself. Then you wanna cut all of them in half horizontally. This is really sad. All the cheese went with it. Don't worry that it looks like a mess. You know what? It will work. It's delicious, fluffy yeast dough. It's gonna bake into one anyway. You take one at a time, okay? And you roll it around like so, okay? Nice and snug. And you put it in your prepared pan. If they start to fall apart a little bit, fall over, it's fine because you're gonna add the rest of them and they're gonna be fine. It's everything is fine. Calm down, okay? Calm down. Just gonna do the rest of them. Just put them in there. All right, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna loosely cover this with like a lint-free towel and I'm gonna let it rest for half an hour and then I'll preheat the oven and then while these bake, we'll get going on making the dip. Because we're not dip, you dip, we dip. I had to. It was like on the tip of my tongue. All right, these have rested for 30 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and put these in the oven. They're gonna bake at 375 for about 20 minutes or so. In the meantime, we'll make the sauce. All right, the sauce part is really easy. What I have in here is a little heavy cream and some cream cheese. And what I'm gonna do right now is work on melting the cream cheese into the heavy cream. Once that's creamy, then we'll start adding our cheeses. I just crumbled this with my hands because I didn't feel like shredding it, but I've got some sharp cheddar and I have some pepper jack cheese because I want a little bit of kick. I've got garlic, you hear my little sous chef, and some paprika. And here, yes baby. My chair. I've got Dijon mustard and some Worcestershire sauce, and over here I've got some lager. Lager of your choice. I wouldn't use anything that's like really, really fruity or like a Guinness or anything like that because that'll be really too strong. Here she comes. We typically do this when she's content, but she's having a mama moment, aka she needs to see me at all times. And you and I are friends like that, especially at the holiday season. I figured it's fine. We're fine. It's fine. I'm just gonna babysit this and then we'll move on. Nice and creamy. Now I go ahead and add my lager. And once this starts coming to a simmer, I don't want this to boil. But once it starts coming to a simmer, then we start adding. Oh, I'm mixing it like that. Yes, ma'am. There's a. I need to mix it? Oh, okay, sorry. Apparently I was mixing it wrong. Once this comes to a... Okay, once this comes to a simmer, we're gonna start adding our cheese a little bit at a time while whisking until it's all melted and fabulous and wonderful and delicious. And I mean, we're nearly there in terms of simmer. All right, all the cheese is melted. Now I have this on really low heat. I forgot to break out the salt and the pepper because you do need some salt. Taste it at this point. Lots of pepper. And then I'm gonna add in the paprika and the garlic along with the Dijon mustard and the Worcestershire sauce. You can also use, oh, okay. You can also use like grainy mustard, like whole grain mustard for this, and it would be fabulous, but I don't have any. And Dijon just does add a good amount of... Oh, the chair is too big? Let me taste it. Make sure that it's good on the seasoning. And then I know this looks really, really thin at the moment, but as it sits, it will thicken, you know? So, now. Is cheese soup a thing? Okay, here we go. Come on. Oh, sorry, boss. All right, she's back. So as this sits, it's, oh, okay. She didn't want to direct anymore. Here, give it to me. She was done directing. She says she wants to be the star. She wants to be the talent. Okay, that's good enough. As this sits, it's going to thicken, right? And it's going to be phenomenal. Ayo! Okay, that's enough. It's going to be phenomenal. So I'm just going to wait for my, I'm going to decant this into a different dish, wait for my pigs in a blanket to come out of the oven, and then we serve. And I want to eat this for dinner, just the soup itself. How do we dance? How do you dance? She's doing patty cake. And working with the B.
Faster, put in oven and
Delish. Delish, 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 delish. Right? All right, this took about 20-ish minutes in the oven. I let it cool for a few minutes and I started pulling it apart. And the cheese, that sort of like ends up being on the outside of the dough, creates like these incredible, but look how soft and fluffy it is too. Like, it's just good, y'all. I mean, it's hard to show you without ripping it apart, but just trust me. And the cheese sauce has thickened. Look at this. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be hot though. Look. Y'all, this is the appetizer of the season. This one right here. It is the appetizer of the season. It is so good. I have no other words because I'll start to sound ridiculous if I tell you how good this is without you really understand, like with you really understanding. You have to just make it. It's like pigs in a blanket, but like a million times better. That cheese dip, to die for. Laura in the Kitchen has the recipe. Make it. You will not regret it. I will see you next time. Peace out. I have another one.